So you nabbed yourself a Nintendo Switch 2. Congratulations! But what the heck are you gonna play on that pristine piece of technology? Might I recommend going old school and heading back to the glitz and glamour of 1980s Japan? And don't worry, you won't need a plane ticket or a time machine because Yakuza 0 Director's Cut is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 on June 5th. And today I'm gonna tell newcomers and longtime fans, like myself, why this new version is much more than a port. In fact, it feels like a fresh start for the series, and yes, I called that phone number. We'll talk about that in just a second. Yakuza 0 was released in 2015 in Japan, and this director's cut is being made for the 10th anniversary. Even if you've played the newest Like a Dragon releases, or the excellent Judgment spin-off, this game is not cut from the same cloth. In fact, Yakuza 0 was a bit of a swan song for the old-school engine before the newer physics-heavy Dragon engine replaced the general feel of the franchise. This means a more stylized look than the robust lighting and models found in newer games. But as many fans will tell you, both kinds of Yakuza games have their own charms, and this old-school variation is a welcome throwback to the traditional combat. And we'll get to the fighting in a second, but first we gotta address the budget in the room. Yakuza 0 was released in the West in 2017, but it was a different time when Sega was uncertain if the franchise would truly take to the West. Heck, Yakuza 5 was a digital PS3 exclusive in the West. This time out, players can select a full English voice cast. And what's this? They even updated the models for lip sync. This sort of attention to detail really highlights an attempt at a wider audience. Now, the latest Like a Dragon games have featured an English dub, but this level of production on an older game is really exciting. Personally speaking, I've always adored the Japanese cast, especially after so many years together, but this added accessibility and presentation certainly has me intrigued. Now, when it comes to Yakuza 0, I've always been mixed on recommending it as an entry point, but it sounds like the team have fixed up any narrative inconsistencies in Director's Cut. It was really in its own little trilogy with Kiwami, a remake of the first game, and Part 6, at least when it came to the side missions. But according to the Japanese voice cast, they were given new scripts containing character work scenes, which resolved previous plot issues. What exactly were these problems? Apparently it centers on relationships that need further exploration. As a Yakuza fan, I'm curious to see where that one goes. There's frankly so much to do in Yakuza 0, it can certainly make the main story get lost. It's a feature, not a bug. So perhaps those extra scenes will help Yakuza 0 stand out on its own and become the default place for newcomers. Heck, players can finally go online and enjoy more of that sweet Yakuza combat, which might surprise newcomers. But yes, despite having online board games previously, this is the very first time co-op beat-em-up allows players to team up in franchise history. As I previously mentioned, the newer combat is free-flowing, whereas this classic version of the game requires an exact precision like a 3D fighter. You'll be blocking and dodging, learning combos and mastering technique while facing off against Mr. Shakedown and more, with multiple fighting styles for Kazuma and Majima. Now, avoiding any and all spoilers, I will say the core themes are rather mature, especially for a 2015 game. Yakuza 0 doesn't break it down in academic specifics, but it does go into a surprising amount of detail about the real estate bubble of the late 1980s. And as crazy as it sounds, there are other times when characters will literally throw money in the air. Like, literally. You don't want to fight some random people? Just throw money in the air, and they'll try and pick it up. In fact, there's an absurd amount to do besides throw knuckles, including a fully featured Hostess minigame that feels ripped right from another franchise. Or how about some classic arcade games, baseball, bowling, and more? Yes, this is the game where the dancing memes came from. You're getting two big locations packed with mini-games like slot car racing, which even feature their own unique narrative arc. It's a feature-rich game now on the go with the Nintendo Switch 2. But what about that phone number? Well, I gave it a call, and sadly, despite pressing 0 to speak with Kazuma, he was unavailable. That's right, the trailer features a phone number that actually functions, and encourages callers to leave a message for Majima or Kazuma. Kiryu, you got my digits, give me a call, bro. There's absolutely more to Yakuza 0 Director's Cut than a simple port. Online play has finally become more dynamic, the cast record all new scenes to flesh out the core narrative, and there's an entire English voice cast, all coming day and date with the brand new Nintendo Switch 2 on June 5th, 2025. But now I want to chat back with you. Are you an old school Yakuza fan from the PlayStation 2 days? Or will this be your first time on the CD streets of Kamurochō? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, what other Yakuza games would you like to see on the Switch 2? Personally speaking, give me those Judgment games. Keep clicking around here at Game Rant, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.